Gumbaz Museum, a treasure of Bijapur's glorious past. When visitors enter the grand complex of Gol Gumbaz in Bijapur, they often notice a beautiful old building standing near the main tomb. This building is the Gol Gumbaz Museum, a place that protects and displays the rich history, art, and culture of the Adil Shahi dynasty. The museum is managed by the Archaeological Survey of India (ASI), and it is one of the most important museums in North Karnataka. It helps people understand how glorious the Adil Shahi kingdom once was, not just in power, but also in art, music, culture, and science. Classical building history of the museum building. The museum is located in what was once a guest house or administrative block built during the Adil Shahi period. It was later converted into a museum by the British, and today it is carefully maintained by the ASI. The museum building itself is quite beautiful. It has arched windows, tall ceilings, and wide verandas that reflect the Indo-Islamic style of Bijapur's architecture. When you enter, the cool stone walls and quiet atmosphere make you feel as if you've stepped back into history. Friend, picture what you can see inside the museum. The Gol Gumbaz Museum is divided into several galleries, each displaying a special collection of historical objects. Every gallery tells a different part of Bijapur's story, from royal life to war, from music to religion, from art to everyday living. Let's explore some of the important sections. 1. The Weapons Gallery. Crossed Swords. One of the most exciting sections in the museum is the Weapons Gallery. Here, visitors can see the swords, shields, daggers, guns, spears, and cannons used by the Adil Shahi soldiers. Some weapons are beautifully decorated with gold, silver, and jewels, showing how even tools of war were treated as pieces of art. There are also examples of armor worn by soldiers and horses during battle. These items give us a glimpse of how powerful the Bijapur army was in the 16th and 17th centuries. 2. The Coins and Inscriptions Gallery. Money Bag. This gallery contains hundreds of ancient coins, made of copper, silver, and gold. The coins bear the names and titles of the Adil Shahi rulers, along with Arabic or Persian calligraphy. Some coins even show symbols and designs that reflect the fusion of Hindu and Islamic culture. The inscriptions displayed here are carved on stone tablets. They were found in temples, mosques, and palaces around Bijapur. Each inscription tells a story about a king, a donation, or an important event. These collections help historians learn how the Adil Shahis ruled, how they traded, and how they interacted with other kingdoms. 3. The Manuscripts and Paintings Gallery. Scroll Artist Palette. The Adil Shahi kings, especially Ibrahim Adil Shah II, were great lovers of music, poetry, and art. This gallery preserves that cultural side of Bijapur's history. Here, visitors can see handwritten manuscripts in Persian, Arabic, and Dakhni languages, miniature paintings showing royal scenes, musical gatherings, and religious events, beautiful calligraphy work on paper and cloth, written with natural ink and gold dust. Some paintings are inspired by both Persian and Indian art styles, which shows how cultures blended beautifully in Bijapur. 4. The Sculpture and Stone Gallery. Moai Stone Statue. In this section, you can find stone idols, carvings, and decorative pieces collected from the Vijayapura region. Many of these sculptures come from Hindu temples and Jain sites, which proves that the Adil Shahi rulers respected and supported all religions. Some stones show floral and geometric designs, while others depict animals, dancers, or mythological figures. These carvings show the fine craftsmanship and artistic imagination of the local sculptors. 5. The Everyday Life Gallery Amphora. This gallery is one of the most interesting because it shows how common people lived during the Adil Shahi period. You can see pottery, metal utensils, ornaments, musical instruments, and clothes from that time. There are also decorative lamps, mirrors, and household items that belonged to nobles and royal families. Each item tells a small story about the lifestyle, culture, and traditions of people from 4 centuries ago. The Photographic and Model Gallery Camera with Flash. This section contains old photographs, maps, and architectural models of Bijapur's monuments. There is a miniature model of Gol Gumbaz itself, showing its structure from top to bottom. These models help students and tourists understand how the giant dome and Whispering Gallery were built. You can also see photos taken by early British archaeologists who first studied the monument in the 19th century. They show how Gol Gumbaz looked long ago, before it was restored and maintained. Herb Museum Surroundings. The museum is surrounded by a green lawn and flowering gardens, just like the main Gol Gumbaz monument. The peaceful environment allows visitors to walk slowly and imagine how royal Bijapur must have looked centuries ago. Many tourists spend time sitting under the trees, sketching or taking pictures of the dome and museum together. The combination of the monument and museum gives visitors a complete picture of Bijapur's glory. Headphone Educational Importance. For students, researchers, and tourists, the Gol Gumbaz Museum is like a living classroom. It helps people understand the history of the Deccan Sultanates, the art and architecture of the Adil Shahi period, the cultural harmony between Hindus and Muslims, the scientific achievements of ancient builders. Teachers often bring school groups here to help children connect what they read in textbooks with real objects from history. It's a wonderful place for visual learning. Clock timings and entry. The Gol Gumbaz Museum is open almost every day except on national holidays. Usually, the visiting hours are from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The entry ticket for Indian visitors is very affordable, and the same ticket usually allows access to both the Gol Gumbaz monument and the museum. Foreign tourists have a slightly higher fee, but everyone agrees that it's worth it. Cameras are allowed, though sometimes flash photography is restricted to protect old artifacts. Trophy. Why the museum is special. What makes the Gol Gumbaz Museum truly special is not just the objects it holds, but the stories behind them. Every weapon, coin, sculpture, or manuscript speaks about a civilization that combined strength and beauty, faith and tolerance, art and technology. Visiting the museum after exploring the main dome gives people a complete experience, first, the awe of architecture, and then, the understanding of the people who created it. It reminds us that monuments are not only built of stone, they are also built of culture, creativity, and human effort. Glowing Star Conclusion. The Gol Gumbaz Museum is like a treasure chest of Bijapur's history. It silently tells the story of how this small Deccan city once stood tall as a center of art, power, and learning. Every visitor who walks through its halls takes home not just photos, but memories of India's glorious past, a time when kings were poets, architects were scientists, and buildings like Gol Gumbaz became eternal wonders. In the heart of Karnataka, in the historic city of Bijapur, now called Vijayapura, stands a massive and mysterious monument that has fascinated people for centuries. It is called Gol Gumbaz, which means round dome. Gol Gumbaz is not just a tomb or a building. It is a symbol of power, creativity, art, and science from the 17th century. Even today, when people visit it, They are amazed at how such a giant structure was built hundreds of years ago, without modern machines, cement, or technology. The monument is the mausoleum of Sultan Mohammed Adil Shah, who ruled the Adil Shahi dynasty in Bijapur from 1627 to 1656. He wanted his final resting place to be something unique, something that would make people remember his name forever. So, he ordered the construction of this grand building that we now know as Gol Gumbaz. It took about 30 years to complete the monument. The construction started around 1626 or 1627, during the early years of Muhammad Adil Shah's reign, and it was completed in 1656, just before his death. When you look at Gol Gumbaz from far away, you can see a huge round dome rising above the city. The dome itself is so big that it looks like a small hill made of stone. It is said to be the second largest dome in the world, only after the famous St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. But what makes Gol Gumbaz even more interesting is not only its size but also its sound. The dome has a special echo system, a feature that has made it world famous. If you stand inside the gallery and whisper, your voice can be heard clearly several times across the dome. Because of this, it is often called the Whispering Gallery. Gol Gumbaz is a place where art meets science, architecture meets imagination, and history meets mystery. To the Adil Shahi dynasty, the kings of Bijapur. To understand Gol Gumbaz better, we must learn about the rulers who built it, the Adil Shahis. The Adil Shahi dynasty ruled Bijapur from 1490 to 1686. They were originally part of the Bahmani Sultanate, but later became independent when the Bahmani Empire broke into smaller kingdoms. The Adil Shahis were great lovers of art, music, and architecture. They encouraged both Hindu and Muslim artists and created a unique culture that mixed both traditions. Under their rule, Bijapur became one of the most beautiful and wealthy cities in India. The first ruler, Yusuf Adil Shah, laid the foundation of this dynasty. His successors continued to develop Bijapur into a great center of power. They built many palaces, gardens, and mosques, but the most famous of them all is Gol Gumbaz. Sultan Mohammed Adil Shah, the man behind Gol Gumbaz. Muhammad Adil Shah was the seventh ruler of the dynasty. He became the king in 1627 after the death of his father, Ibrahim Adil Shah II, who was known as a poet, musician, and artist. Muhammad, like his father, had a great interest in art and architecture. But he was also a ruler who wanted to leave behind a legacy, a mark of his greatness. He wanted to build a tomb that would show his power, wealth, and devotion to God. So, he planned a grand structure that would stand forever. He called his best architect, Yakut of Dabul, who was from the coastal town of Dabul in today's Maharashtra. Yakut was a genius in design and construction. He accepted the challenge to build something that had never been built before, a monument so large and strong that it would last for centuries. And thus, the story of Gol Gumbaz began. 4. The construction of Gol Gumbaz. The construction of Gol Gumbaz was not easy. It took nearly 3 decades of hard work, dedication, and intelligence to complete. Thousands of workers, stonecutters, and artists were involved in building this massive structure. The monument was built using dark grey basalt stone, a type of volcanic rock found in the region. The stones were cut, shaped, and placed carefully without using any steel or cement. Instead, they used a special lime mortar to bind the stones together. The structure was built to last, and indeed, it has stood strong for almost 400 years. The entire building stands on a raised platform, surrounded by beautiful gardens and open courtyards. There are 4 tall minarets or towers, one at each corner of the main building. Each minaret has 7 stories, and you can climb up through spiral staircases to reach the top. From the top, visitors can see a breathtaking view of the whole Bijapur city, full of ancient monuments, temples, and mosques. The architecture of Gol Gumbaz. The most stunning part of Gol Gumbaz is, of course, its dome. The word Gol means round, and Gumbaz means dome in Persian and Urdu. So, the name literally means round dome. The dome of Gol Gumbaz is 44 meters, 144 feet, in diameter and 51 meters, 167 feet, high from the inside. It is so large that it could fit a 10-story building inside it. The dome is not supported by any pillars. This is what makes it an engineering wonder. Usually, large domes need columns or supports inside to hold their weight. But in Gol Gumbaz, the dome rests entirely on 4 large arches that rise from the walls below. Each wall is about 3 meters thick, made of heavy stone blocks. The weight of the dome, nearly 18,000 tons, is evenly balanced on these arches. This is an incredible example of architectural genius. Above the arches is a gallery that runs around the dome, the famous Whispering Gallery. This gallery is accessible through the staircases inside the towers. When you reach the gallery and speak softly, your voice echoes several times around the dome. It is said that your whisper can be heard clearly on the opposite side, 38 meters away, the Whispering Gallery, the sound of wonder. The Whispering Gallery is what makes Gol Gumbaz truly special. Visitors are amazed when they discover that even a small whisper or clap can travel across the dome and return as an echo. Scientists and sound engineers say that this is because of the perfect circular shape of the dome. Sound waves bounce off the curved walls and travel across without losing strength. This makes Gol Gumbaz one of the best examples of acoustic engineering in the world. Even today, you can see people standing at one end of the gallery and whispering, while their friends at the other end listen and laugh in surprise. It is an experience that brings both joy and curiosity. How could ancient builders understand sound science so perfectly? The interior of Gol Gumbaz. Inside the main chamber of Gol Gumbaz, there is a simple tomb platform in the center. This is where Sultan Mohammed Adil Shah and his family members were buried. However, the real graves are actually located in a vault below the main floor, which is reached by a hidden staircase. The chamber is huge and empty, creating an echoing atmosphere. When someone walks or speaks, the sound repeats many times. The silence and the echo together make the place feel mysterious and peaceful. There are also small decorative arches, windows with beautiful lattice work, and carvings on the walls. The entire structure is built in Deccan Indo-Islamic style, with influences from Persian, Turkish, and Indian architecture. The beauty around Gol Gumbaz. Outside the monument, the surroundings are equally impressive. There is a large garden complex with lawns, walkways, and fountains. In the old days, this area was maintained like a royal garden, where people came to admire the beauty of the structure. Nearby, there is also a small mosque, museum, and watchtower. The museum displays coins, weapons, clothes, and art from the Adil Shahi period. It helps visitors understand the rich culture that existed in Vijayapur during the 16th and 17th centuries. When the sun rises or sets, The shadow of the dome falls beautifully across the lawns, giving a royal and peaceful look to the entire area. The genius architect, Yaqut of Dabur. The architect, Yaqut of Dabur, deserves special mention. He was not just a builder, he was a visionary. He combined mathematics, geometry, and art to design something that was beyond imagination. He understood how to balance heavy stones and how to use curves and arches to create both beauty and strength. Many people say that Yaqut's design was inspired by Persian and Roman architecture, but he gave it a unique Indian touch. His work on Gol Gumbaz remains one of the greatest achievements of Indian architecture. Gol Gumbaz and other monuments of Bijapur. Bijapur is home to many historical buildings, but Gol Gumbaz stands above them all.